What's up guys, today we're going to be ranking all of the Arduino projects in this tier list right here. Let's get started. We have here a whole bunch of different projects, so let's rate the difficulty on each of these projects and see what happens. Okay, the first one, it looks like we have an ultrasonic sensor, 3 LEDs, presumably measuring the distance, like maybe 1 is super close, 2 is a little further, 3 is very far away. That's a pretty good beginner project. Not the easiest, right? It's not like Blink, right? That would be in very basic, but it's pretty easy. I think basic. It's 4A. What? Okay, I mean, I'll take it. I appreciate you being here, even at 4 a.m. in the morning. I do appreciate that. It does not go unnoticed now that I've been informed. So the next thing we have is a PIR motion sensor, just light up an LED. Side note here, you don't actually need an Arduino for this. If you just power up a PIR motion sensor, you can just connect the middle pin to the LED and it'll turn on when the PIR motion sensor is turning on. That's what all those little security devices that are hanging in the walls do. It just, when it detects motion, it lights up a tiny light. Obviously they're connected to some system or something like that, but yeah, the middle pin on here, you can just connect it to an LED and you're good to go. No Arduino needed at all. That's good. You know, it's better, you know, even if it's 4 a.m. and you're not going to be sleeping. I mean, what else are you going to be doing than watching a Sabre C++ video, you know? All right. This might be very basic, or I could move both of these up and have this be basic and this be intermediate. I think that's a fair way to do it because this is super easy. You could, like the way they have it set up here, you'd have to do a tiny program. You can do it without the Arduino, but even in this way, it's a super simple setup. I think that's a basic. Okay, again, button turning on an LED. Now, you don't need the Arduino if it's a hold button, but obviously if you want like a toggle or something like that, then you would need a microcontroller for that. So that's cool. I would say, again, basic. I'm not sure. Yeah, if we have straight up Blink, I think that's very basic. Other than that, I think everything else is probably going to be basic or above. What do we have? Okay, this image is kind of cut off. Can we see this somehow? Is there a way to... I have no idea what's going on here. I mean, I see 3 resistors, maybe going to 3 different LEDs, maybe a traffic light. Let's say it's a traffic light. Just because I cannot see that at all. That's basic. You turn on green, you turn on yellow for a short time, you turn on red for a longer time, same as green or something like that. Yeah, that's pretty basic. If it's a traffic light, yeah, I would say that's basic. Okay, this, dude, I do not know what this is, but it looks intense. This looks very intense. We have an array of something. LEDs. RGB LEDs? That's not RGB LED. Can that be RGB LEDs? They look kind of like RGB LEDs, but there's not enough wires for that. I think it's an LED array, but there's also... Oh, and then those... Yeah, it's an LED array. And then we have a couple of little ICs here to do that. I'm not sure what the potentiometer is doing. Like, do we think this is like moving around which LED is on, changing how many are on, like some kind of level thing? I don't know, but this would be complicated to wire up in real life and definitely complicated to program. I think it's very advanced, honestly. Yeah. I think that's very advanced. It looks like, yeah, an array of LEDs, kind of like that little 8x8 LED matrix, but obviously a custom one. And then, yeah, with the 2 ICs and the programming required for that, it would be a little bit tricky. It would be a lot bit tricky. Okay, this honestly might be another very advanced one. This is super easy to wire up, just connecting these wires, following, you know, directions or whatever. But the programming required to go through and write all the different things for all the different symbols and then have those spat out on here and then some kind of password checker, that's probably very advanced. Easy to wire up. This is hard to wire up, advanced to program. This is easy to wire up, basic to wire up, but it's probably very advanced to program. I would say that's on the higher end of Arduino projects that you would have to do. This is interesting. We have 2 circles of RGB LEDs and in the middle, a counter. and then there's some kind of sensor over here. It looks like a radio, like an antenna that you would use to communicate. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'm not sure. Yeah, what is the purpose of this device? We have a couple of rings. It looks almost like a target or something where you like shoot it and then it would flash these rings and give you a number or something like that. But this is a radio antenna, so it's not that directional. It can't detect like how accurate you are. So I don't think it could be that. It could be, I don't know. Why is there a radio antenna? It kind of looks like maybe one of those random number pickers, but again, radio antenna. So yeah, I'm not sure what to make of this. If it has a radio antenna though, it's probably pretty advanced, because sending those signals back and forth, you have to, there are libraries for it obviously, but you do have to do some work with the data to make sure that you're sending short amounts of data and then interpreting that data. And if you have a radio antenna, that means there's another device out there that you're communicating with. So setting that up as well is definitely going to add to the difficulty. So that's very advanced. Car. That's a nice project. It's okay. The only thing I'm a little unsure about is this looks like a custom PCB. Looks like they made this PCB for this project. And if it includes PCB design is easier than it looks at first, right? I was like, I want to learn how to design PCBs. So I started doing that. And then like a week or, yeah, maybe more than 1 week, less than 2 weeks later, I was making videos for you guys about that. So PCB design isn't that hard. I'm going to put it in advanced. If you didn't have to design the PCB, intermediate. But if you are designing a custom PCB, probably advanced is a good place to put it. Okay, here we have two Arduinos. This one has a button, one has a potentiometer. What? There's no connection between though. And neither of them have modules to communicate. Maybe they're both connected to a computer and they're communicating through that, because obviously they both have wires. I don't know. It looks pretty simple though. I'm going to put it intermediate, because if there is communication between two Arduinos, that adds some complexity, admittedly. But the input on there is very simple. So it can't be that complex of a project, I don't think. Okay, here it is. The legendary blink sketch. One LED, you turn it on and off. That's as basic as it gets. First project, Dude, is there a term for Arduinoians? Like, is there Arduinoians, Arduino heads? Like, what are they called? We need to workshop a name for that, honestly. We could also workshop a name for like people who are on this channel, like followers of the channel, like sabers. They could just be called sabers, saber somethings. Blink is too advanced. Or were you talking about the one before that? Blink is as simple as it gets. Oh, Blink is as simple as it gets. Now over here, this is the traffic light project. So I don't know what our mystery project from earlier where it was clipping off the edges, but it's apparently not traffic light. Blink is too advanced. All right, you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and put it in very advanced. That seems. My question would be, if it's not in very basic, what is? What is the most basic thing? I mean, okay, looking at these options, there is one that is very basic. And that is the YouTube subscribe button, which if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you should definitely do that so you don't miss out on future videos. But aside from this blink, it doesn't get much more basic. Traffic light should be basic, right? We still have our mystery project here. Buying the things though. Yeah, that's true. Technically for any of these projects, unless these things magically appear at your house, which if they do, you got to let me know how that happens, because I want the same thing. But if they don't, then yeah, you still have to buy all of these things. I think we're assuming for this that your very wonderful parents have given you these electronic components to work with. And you have a YouTube tutorial to follow. Maybe by yours truly. Maybe not. Because let's be real, I don't really have tutorials for most of these things. I do not live in Amazon. Many have theorized that I live in Amazon. However, I went to buy an office space there, but there were just too many trees, and I tried to get a houseboat on the river there. I heard it was quite nice, but the houseboat was just a little bit too wide. It got stuck, so I couldn't keep sailing down the river. We did have a sail on the houseboat. It was a mega sail. It was very large. It also got caught in the trees. So that's basically the story of why I don't live in the Amazon. I tried my best. It didn't work out. Next, we have the... Dude, what is this? Measuring? Oh, I think it's measuring. Look at that. 0, 1, 2... Temperature... This here seems to say temperature level example. I wish you could like somehow blow up these images a little bigger, but it seems to have just destroyed them. Huh. It looks kind of complicated, but not too complicated. So we're just going to make a random gut call here and slap it in advanced. Partially because we're now at the segment of the video where we want to be trying to even out these rows because it is more satisfying, but also because, yeah, we don't really know what's going on with some of these projects. We came in blind, guys. There's only so much we can do. Next, we have an Arduino Uno with one of these LCD displays, and it says, it looks like just random text. It says, "One write about text adventures." Maybe it's like writing ideas or something like that. There's 2 buttons. This actually could be a game. If this is just like displaying some text, intermediate probably, little bit of wiring and stuff. But if this is making a game on there, that's very advanced, because when you're making a game on there, it's much harder than just making a game on your computer because you have to take all kinds of things into account, which you don't have to do. So intermediate if it's just text. If it's a full game, very advanced. So we'll split the difference. We'll slap it in advanced. And yeah, that's the only reason I'm putting it in advanced. I have no ulterior motive. I just think that's a fair place to put it. Here we have an LED. This is not even, there's no wires here. It's just like a kind of heart, I guess, made out of LEDs, which is cool. If there's no wires here, then it's basic, no? Like, if it's not actually doing anything, we may be supposed to assume that something is making all of this text and LEDs happen. Maybe I'm overthinking the fact that there are no wires. But I think, since we're just going by the literal picture, I think we are allowed to put this in basic. Once again, I have no ulterior motive here. I just think it's the fairest place to put it. PIR motion sensor plus light plus sound, pretty obvious. When it detects something, it's going to make a blaring alarm sound, and it's going to flash the LED. That's pretty basic. Could be Here's the thing. No, honestly, like actually honestly, if you are playing sound, then it becomes intermediate. If you're just doing a beeping, it's basic. But if you're playing an actual sound on here, then it's going to be intermediate. Yeah, so I think intermediate is a fair place to put that. Ooh, something showing the date. And very, very strongly, because we're showing it 3 times in a row. I would say pretty easy. The thing is, it doesn't show the full project here, but we probably also have to connect a clock module to keep the time so that we don't mess up the date, because if you just use the Arduino's built-in clock, then a power flicker or something, either for your whole power line goes out for just a second, or just the Arduino has a glitch or something, shuts down for a second, you accidentally press the reset button, the whole thing's ruined. So you need a clock module to actually do that, which might put it in the advanced, hypothetically. Or it might put it intermediate. Let's put it in intermediate. You need a clock module, but the display here is fairly similar. Dude, actually, they're wiring a ton of these together. That's, oh, okay, I see. There's only, so normally just one of these modules just has a bunch of pins, and you just turn the LEDs on or off using each one of those pins. But here they have those already connected to boards with a little bit of circuitry, so you're communicating with them over I2C, which makes it much easier, because instead of dealing with, I don't know, this is like 100 LEDs. Instead of dealing with that, you're communicating with the little chips on the backs of each of these, and that makes it much easier. So yeah, that's probably intermediate. Okay, whoa. This is intense, guys. This is intense. Ultrasonic sensor plus servo plus a motor plus... What is that? Like a gas sensor here? I'm not sure what that is. Plus speaker. That's just for the servo. Plus a PIR motion sensor there, if I didn't already say that. Another motor. 3 lights. A couple other ICs out here doing something. I'm not sure what. That was a terrible voice crack. And then, what is this here? Is this an oven? This is, I don't know what this is. Maybe it could be a car. Actually, I think it's a car. Like, picture this. Wheel 1, wheel 2 in the back. So we have 2 wheels in the back. The servo motor is like either something on top to... Yeah, the servo motor is connected to this. So we can go back and forth. The ultrasonic sensor is on the servo, so it goes back and forth like this to see the distance between it and walls nearby. And then 2 motors for the wheels so it can turn, drive around. I don't know what this other stuff is doing. We got some lights. Maybe it's a cop car, so we got some flashing lights. I don't know. Speaker here, obviously lots of sounds you could play. And then I guess a couple other sensors just for funsies. That's pretty complicated. It might be very advanced. I think it's very advanced. Just networking all of those together would be a challenge. It would be a challenge. None of them on their own are very difficult. It's not like the LCD display and stuff are more difficult on their own. But I think on the whole, setting up this whole project would be pretty difficult. And especially if you had to figure out the ultrasonic sensor moving back and forth and assessing distances and then using that to drive, that's very advanced. So yeah, kudos to whoever actually made that project, because that's a pretty tough one to figure out. And if they have a banger tutorial on it, that's an S-tier YouTuber. And if they don't, then I should do that. This one right here, we have 2 LED strips, right? Looking like a lightsaber. A little 3x3 LEDs also here. And then a dial. And then also a display. Looks advanced to me. Again, no ulterior motives. Completely innocent here. It just looks like advanced. See, it's not as hard as building this custom circuitry. It looks as hard as this one. It's kind of as hard as... It's probably harder than this one. Because you have the LEDs are pretty easy to use, but it's probably the same difficulty level as this one. I might pull this one down. But I think these two are the same difficulty level. But we have a backup card. We have a get out of jail free right here, because this one, we have no idea what it is. So we can put it in any tier we want. So we're putting it in the very difficult tier because, I mean, look at that. Does that not look difficult? Does that not look difficult? That looks super hard. So we're going to put that in the very advanced tier, which leaves us with just one left. And this is a potentiometer and a servo. So you basically just make sure that the potentiometer, the servo is lined up with the potentiometer. And I think in a very unbiased and valid judgment that this is what we would call a very basic project. Because, yeah, anyway, I think that's what we would call a very basic project. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but somehow we seem to have luckily come across a situation where all 5 of the rows are even and perfect. And yes, these 5 rows, just through no effort at all on our part, have just magically come out in this beautiful 4x5 grid. If you enjoyed this video, check out this one right here, and don't forget to join our live stream on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern.